if you're at full spoilers and how to kick it in, it works out fine, right?
80 Zulu, November Mike, 5 to the northwest.
So, let's see, what else? There's
burns that speed so fast.
It does. It burns it off
with the spoilers.
So it's okay to kick it in. My point is always like, people aren't super proficient with the slip, so that might be a harder one to do, right?
Right.
But understanding both is good. But how did you feel about the actual landing, the touchdown?
I mean, I was a little slow, and obviously early. And because I came in a little slower, it was a little harder to flare. I lost my energy. I mean, I just lost my energy but
so why? So we were slow. Why? Or how do we get slow?
Basically, just left the spoilers in a little too long. I mean, I never moved the spoilers basically.
Well, you did before you started the flare.
Okay.
And so I don't know what your intention was, but what it seemed like was because we were at half, and then you started to bring the nose up here, and then you close the spoiler part way, like that, right? Which is in theory going to reduce the drag.
Yeah, get a little more distance on it.
Hey, Brody, you're good. Just hold up a minute. You're good. Just hold up a minute.
Yeah, so the intention was to get just a little extra distance.
Right, but because we only reduce, remember that's 50%, right?
Okay.
And that's still
30,
like 40%,
okay.
right? So you only reduce the drag by 10%, but you brought the nose up.
Okay.
Remember how I said people fall into that trap where they start to kind of flare and close the spoiler a little bit, trying to extend? And so now we're still reducing speed really, really fast.
Okay.
Had you wanted to extend, if you went boom, closed them.
That's what I should have done, is close them all the way.
If you wanted to do it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you wanted to extend up that little bit, or close them a lot more, but you barely closed them in, and then started to flare, and people get caught in oh, well, I closed the spoiler a little bit to make it up there further. Well, all you did was just change almost nothing, but continue to keep that same amount of drag to hit you up and get slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it
was fine. It wasn't a bad deal. You still, it was low enough where you managed the energy in there, but just, it's easy to trick yourself into thinking that does more than it does. I guess is my point more than anything,
Okay.
Because if you left them alone, you probably would have said, okay, I need to get a little bit lower to hold it off.
And
but because you closed them a little bit, you started a little high, and that's where that drop came from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you kind of oh, well, I did this, so this should be able to happen.
Yeah.
Not really that way.
So if essentially, would that be the technique, that not necessarily the spoiler and everything and doing that, but if we're landing in a field or a soft field or something, would that be the technique you want to do?
If you wanted to touch down softer for some reason?
And just stop more abruptly, if I had to put it down as some corn stalk or something.
When I'm doing my rides, right? When I'm doing a really nice smooth ride, what I'll do is kind of what you did, where as I'm coming in, I'll just ease off the spoiler almost to close, and right before it touches down, and then kind of just let it softly touch and then come on.
Okay.
So it makes for a little bit softer landing.
Okay.
It's kind of something
play with over time.
Play with a little bit, yeah. And some people will do it, but there's not a whole,
what's an ideal? What's the ideal? Is the ideal
if you can leave it at half and bring it down and touch down, bleed that energy off and touch down slow, let the tail wheel kind of skate and then roll onto the main wheel, that's what you're looking for. You can do it in any sort of way. If I'm getting slow and I need to get up a little bit further, I can close it and kind of get that ground effect to extend me out a little bit, but I got to be comfortable closing the spoiler almost all the way, if not all the way. And then I have to be comfortable pulling the spoiler out at that low altitude.
Okay.
So
which is more just having to do more
to deal with, right?
So I should have just ended my slip a little sooner.
Yeah, exactly. If you ended your slip a little bit sooner, or just if you probably would have made it, because we were slowing up in the air with those spoilers. We started slowing it out. So if you kept that 55 all the way down and then flared up to the white lines, you probably would have made it up to the white lines.
Okay.
Or if you're not making up to the white lines, that's what I'm saying is, you get that in there, you're coming up and you're going, shit, I don't have enough, and then you close it and it'll just extend it out a little bit there. But if you come up here and go, oh, I'll extend it out, so say we're 15 feet or so, and then you're trying to slow and extend, but that drag's still out. Now you're slowing up here, kind of still out of ground effect, and then stalling and dropping it on. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. go ahead and hop out at that one.
Okay.
Those are all, like I said, those are all really good. It's good to go screw with that stuff, you know?